All right, coffee lovers, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into the world of Italian coffee and tackling a question that I'm sure a lot of you have.
Hmm.
Um, have you ever walked into a cafe and just felt that little, flicker of doubt when deciding between a macchiato and cappuccino?
Yeah, I think those two are definitely the ones that get the most questions
You're right.
and can be super confusing.
So we're hoping that this deep dive will kind of equip you to confidently navigate this coffee conundrum, and we're going to uncover the history, the composition, all the little cultural nuances of each beverage.
Yeah, we'll try to give you everything you need to know to order like a pro
Yeah.
so that next time you walk into that cafe, you know exactly what you want.
Exactly. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. First up,
The macchiato
the macchiato.
just sounds so sophisticated,
Right.
but what does it actually mean?
Well, it translates to stained or marked.
Which is pretty literal when you think about it. If you
Yeah.
imagine a canvas of pure espresso, you know, and then just a delicate touch of milk creating this beautiful mark on its surface, that's your macchiato.
Oh, I like that visual.
Yeah, it is very visual, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's small, right?
Yeah, usually just 2 to 3 ounces.
So for those who want that, intense coffee experience.
Absolutely. The espresso is definitely the dominant force in a macchiato.
Not a milky sweet kind of vibe.
No, not at all. The milk in a traditional macchiato is steamed and lightly foamed, but it's just a whisper compared to the generous cloud you'd find in a latte.
Like a quick, focused energy boost.
Exactly, like when you need that pure espresso kick.
Got it. Okay, so now onto the cappuccino.
Okay.
This one feels a bit more, how do I put this? Leisurely.
Definitely. The cappuccino is all about balance and harmony.
Got
So you've got your espresso base, then you've got an equal part of steamed milk to kind of soften the intensity a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then that iconic layer of fluffy milk foam on top.
Oh, yeah, the foam.
You can't forget the foam.
That's a deal breaker.
Right.
Yeah. So it's typically served in a larger cup, I think
Yeah.
5 to 6 ounces.
Yeah, about that.
And it's meant to be savored slowly, right?
Mhm.
Almost like a dessert.
Exactly. And this is where we get into that whole cultural thing in Italy, about not ordering a cappuccino after 11 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Is that like committing a coffee sin?
Not quite a sin, but it's definitely a raised eyebrow moment. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Italians traditionally view cappuccino as a breakfast drink, something to enjoy with a pastry or a light meal.
Okay.
So ordering one later in the day might suggest that you're not quite in sync with the local coffee etiquette.
I see. So to sum it up so far, macchiato, quick, intense espresso hit cappuccino, a more relaxed, balanced experience.
Precisely. It all comes down to the proportion of milk and the intention behind the drink.
All right. Now, I got to admit, things get a little confusing when macchiato pops up on the menu at Starbucks.
Ah, yes. The Starbucks effect.
Right. Because it just doesn't feel like the same drink at all.
No, it's not. They've popularized a version called the latte macchiato, which is essentially an inverted macchiato.
What do you mean by inverted?
Well, it's primarily steamed milk with a shot of espresso poured on top.
Oh, so they flipped it.
They flipped it, exactly. And often the latte macchiato is much larger and sweeter with added flavors and syrups.
So it's more about the visual presentation than the traditional Italian method.
Exactly. And it's a delicious drink in its own right, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's important to understand the distinction so that you know what to expect.
Right. So if you're craving that authentic Italian macchiato experience, you might need to seek out a specialty coffee shop, or even better, hop on a plane to Italy.
That's always a good idea. But the key takeaway here is just be aware of the variations and you know what to expect when you're ordering a macchiato in different environments.
Gotcha. All right, let's take a little trip back in time. Where did these iconic coffee creations even originate?
Okay, so the macchiato actually has a rather practical origin story. It dates back to 19th century Italy, where baristas needed a quick way to distinguish between plain espresso and espresso with a dash of milk for their customers.
Oh.
Think of it as like a pre-digital age order modification system.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So they just mark the espresso with milk to avoid any mix-ups.
Exactly. And it's amazing how such a simple idea became this global coffee favorite that we know and love today.
Yeah, it really is. Now, what about the cappuccino? I feel like the name itself sounds way more elegant.
It does have a certain ring to it, doesn't it?
Right.
Well, the cappuccino is believed to be named after the Capuchin monks, whose light brown robes resembled the color of the drink with its espresso base and milk foam.
Oh, wow.
It's a really beautiful example of how visual inspiration can shape culinary creations.
I love that. Next time I order a cappuccino, I'll picture those monks and appreciate the little history lesson in my cup.
There you go. That's the beauty of diving deeper into these seemingly simple things.
Right.
It really enriches the whole experience.
It does. And speaking of enriching the experience, I remember reading somewhere that there's actually a reason why Italians avoid cappuccinos after 11 a.m. Like, it's not just about tradition, but something to do with digestion.
That's right. The combination of milk and espresso can be quite heavy on the stomach, especially when consumed later in the day.
Oh,
And Italians are known for their focus on fresh, lighter meals in the afternoon and evening.
right.
So a milky cappuccino might clash with that culinary philosophy a little bit.
So it's almost like a cultural understanding of food pairings and how different elements kind of interact within your body.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just cappuccinos. You won't find many Italians reaching for a latte after a meal either.
Oh, really?
No. They tend to opt for a simple espresso or a caffè corretto, which is an espresso corrected with a splash of liquor,
Wow.
usually grappa.
So it's not just about following a rule. It's about a deeper awareness of how food and drink affect their overall well-being.
Exactly. It's a very mindful approach to coffee consumption.
That's so interesting. It's fascinating how something as simple as a cup of coffee can reveal so much about a culture's values and way of life.
It really is. Now, going back to the differences between macchiatos and cappuccinos, have you ever noticed how the flavor profiles can vary drastically depending on where you order them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I've had macchiatos that were so strong they practically made my hair stand on end,
Oh, yeah.
and then others that were smooth and almost sweet.
Right. It's
Huh?
crazy.
It's wild.
So that variation often comes down to the type of espresso beans used and the roasting process.
Okay.
A darker roast will yield a bolder, more intense flavor in both drinks, whereas a lighter roast might create a brighter, more acidic profile.
So it's not just about the milk. The espresso itself plays a huge role in shaping the overall taste experience.
Exactly. And let's not forget the milk itself. The temperature and texture of the milk can significantly impact the final product.
You mean like how some cappuccinos have that super smooth, velvety foam while others are a bit more bubbly?
Precisely. A skilled barista will know how to steam the milk to the perfect temperature and consistency, creating that silky microfoam that complements the espresso without overpowering it.
So there's like a real art to crafting the perfect macchiato or cappuccino.
Absolutely. It's a combination of technique knowledge and a real passion for creating a truly exceptional coffee experience.
It's like a symphony of flavors
I like that.
where every element plays its part to create this harmonious whole.
Beautifully put. And that brings us to the ultimate question. If you could only choose one for the rest of your life, macchiato or cappuccino, which would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I love the quick energy boost and pure espresso flavor of a macchiato, but I also adore the luxurious feel and the balanced taste of a good cappuccino. I think I'd have to go with the cappuccino. I love that moment of indulgence and the way the foam lingers on your lips.
That's a great choice. For me, I'd probably lean towards the macchiato. I appreciate its simplicity, its boldness, and the way it allows the espresso to truly shine. Plus, I like my coffee experiences to be quick and efficient.
I feel that it's interesting how our personal preferences, even when it comes to something as simple as coffee, kind of reflect our personalities.
It's true, and that's what makes the world of coffee so fascinating. There's something for everyone, and each person's experience is unique.
Absolutely. So what can our listeners take away from this deep dive into the macchiato versus cappuccino debate?
Well, beyond the basic definitions and origins, I think the key takeaway is to approach coffee with curiosity and a willingness to explore, you know.
To go beyond just ordering the same thing every
Mhm.
time and to really savor the nuances of each drink.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to try different variations, experiment with different roasts and milk types, and even venture outside your comfort zone.
Because who knows, you might discover a whole new world of coffee flavors that you never knew existed.
Right. You might even try making your own macchiatos and cappuccinos at home.
Oh, at home? Now that's an idea I've always wanted to, but it just seems so intimidating.
I know what you mean. It can seem that way at first, but with a little practice and the right equipment, anyone can become their own at-home barista.
Really? What kind of equipment would you recommend for someone just starting out? Like me?
Well, a good quality espresso machine is essential, of course. There are so many options available these days, from manual lever machines to fully automatic ones. It really depends on your budget and your level of commitment.
Okay. And what about those milk frothing wands?
Oh, yes.
I've seen them everywhere, but I'm not even sure how to use one.
They can seem intimidating at first, but with a bit of practice, you can create that beautiful microfoam in no time. It's all about finding the sweet spot for the steam and gently swirling the milk to create that velvety texture.
Okay, so it's not just about having the right tools, it's about developing the skills and techniques to use them effectively.
Exactly. And the best part is you can experiment and find what works best for you. There's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to making coffee.
That's what I love about this whole coffee journey. It's about constant learning and discovery.
Absolutely. And that's what we hope this deep dive has inspired you to do, to explore the world of coffee with a newfound appreciation for its complexity and diversity.
To look beyond the surface and uncover the stories, the traditions, the techniques that make each cup so special.
Beautifully said. And remember, whether you're a seasoned coffee connoisseur or just starting to explore the world of macchiatos and cappuccinos, the most important thing is to enjoy the experience.
So go ahead, grab your favorite cup, savor every sip, and let the coffee take you on a journey of flavor and discovery.
And don't forget to share your coffee adventures with us. We'd love to hear about your favorite drinks, your at-home brewing experiments, and any other coffee-related thoughts you might have.
You can connect with us on social media or visit our website for more coffee content, recipes, and tips.
Until next time, happy coffee drinking.
Cheers to that.
And speaking of trying new things, have you ever thought about trying different types of milk?
Oh yeah, like oat milk or almond milk.
Exactly. They can add a whole new dimension of flavor and texture to your macchiatos and cappuccinos.
Huh. I've never actually tried that. I'm so used to just regular dairy milk.
Well, I definitely encourage you to give it a shot. You might be surprised at how much you enjoy it.
Okay, I'm adding that to my to-do list.
Good. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to reiterate something we touched on earlier. The beauty of these drinks lies not only in their taste, but also in their history and cultural significance.
Right, like how the macchiato was born out of practicality, and the cappuccino got its name from those Capuchin monks.
Exactly. It's those little stories and connections that make the whole coffee experience so much richer.
It's like each sip tells a tale.
I love that. So the next time you find yourself in a cafe or even just brewing a cup at home, take a moment to appreciate the journey that led to that very moment.
And think about all the people across time and cultures who've shared in the simple yet profound pleasure of a good cup of coffee.
Beautifully said. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I agree. Well, folks, that's a wrap for today's deep dive into the world of macchiatos and cappuccinos.
We hope you learned something new and maybe even feel inspired to try something different with your coffee routine.
Don't forget to share your thoughts and coffee adventures with us on social media. Or visit our website for more coffee content, recipes, and tips.
Until next time, happy coffee drinking.
Cheers.